Alright, so this video is going to be for my people living in Sydney and New South Wales, Australia. Right now, as I'm making this video, out my window right now, it is pissing down dogs and cats. It is flooding in different parts of Sydney, different parts of New South Wales. It's a pretty terrible situation, and honestly, this is like the third or the fourth time in just over a year that it's flooding this bad. For context, 3 or 4 times in about a year is never really happened before. Not like this, okay? I don't know if it's global warming. I don't know what it is. But there needs to be an answer to this flooding. And today, guys, I'm going to show you some of my ideas to prevent this flooding in the future. Now, obviously, this is not an overnight situation. This is not a task that will be achieved overnight. It will be achieved probably in 5 to 10 years, a decade or so, okay? But if we, the people, make the government do what they have to do, I believe that we can fix at least the Sydney area's flooding situation forever. Now, talking about Warragamba Dam. Now, this is Sydney's massive dam. I wanted to know how much water this Warragamba Dam actually supplies Sydney, Australia, so I quickly Googled it before making this video. Is Warragamba Dam Sydney's drinking water? Is it drinking water? Well, yes and no. More than 80% of Sydney's water comes from Warragamba Dam, and it is treated at Prospect Water Plant. So 80% of Sydney's drinking water, flush the toilet, water the grass water, 80%, more than 80% comes from this one dam, okay? This is the dam once again. So, it is absolutely flooding right now. What's causing Sydney's monster flood crisis? And 3 ways to stop it from happening. Well, this is this little website, all right? What I really want to show you is this video. We're going to watch this video together so we have a better understanding why the Sydney area, particular areas of Sydney at least, flood. And then I'm going to talk about that and ways that I have thought of myself to prevent the flooding in future. I'm really interested to make this video. Hey, this is a really interesting topic. Let's do it. Hopefully you guys can hear it when she starts speaking, at least.
Most major floods in the Hawkesbury-Nepean Valley begin with high rainfall during east coast lows. But why are floods here so large and deep? What makes this valley have one of the highest flood dangers in all Australia? 5 major tributaries act like taps, pouring water into the valley during a flood. While every flood is different, the Warragamba River contributed up to 70% of the water in major floods that happened in the past 60 years. The other tributaries typically make smaller contributions. All this water needs to get to the sea, but natural choke points, where the river narrows, slows the flow in this valley. We call this the bathtub effect, where water backs up and starts filling the floodplain because there is only one plug hole letting water out.
Very interesting.
Because water is confined in this small valley at Wallacia, the worst flood here reached depths around 20 metres above normal river levels. Further downstream, the floodplain at Penrith and Emu Plains is created by the next choke point.
That's near where I live, near.
Because Penrith has naturally high riverbanks which hold the river back, low-lying areas around Emu Plains and Peachtree Creek are affected first. However, extreme floods in the past have reached as far east as Woodruff Street in Penrith, where the river was 12 metres above normal levels. Further downstream, the next choke point is caused by a series of gorges starting at Sackville. Because the Richmond-Windsor floodplain is relatively flat and wide, floodwaters spread quickly across a vast area. In the worst flood on record, here the river reached 19 metres above its normal level. Floodwaters back up into creeks in the valley, and flood islands form as floodwaters rise. It's this bathtub effect that makes floods in the Hawkesbury-Nepean so devastating. This is why it's important to respond when you're told to evacuate. The last major flood was in 1990. It will flood again in the Hawkesbury-Nepean Valley. The risk is real. Do you know your flood risk?
So there we go. That's just a quick little video regarding that. Now, I'm going to quickly show you guys a map on my computer. Let's do it right now. We'll start with this map. So, Sydney. This is Sydney, the heart of the city, right there. Okay? The Warragamba Dam is right there. So, look at this water. This is what the dam is holding back, plus more. this huge amount of water. So the amount, you know, all the rain that hits everywhere, obviously, but when the rain hits this specific area, the dam, going back to that picture, the dam is holding all that water back. All right. So once again, the Warragamba Dam is over there. All right, and Sydney's over here. For some reason, Sydney kind of looks like a woman's uterus. It really does, right? Here's another picture, right? So there's Sydney once again. It has that kind of the right part of it, the left part of it, and of course the canal. There's the right part, the left part, and the canal. I just thought I'd show you guys that because it kind of does, right? It kind of looks like that. So once again, there is the Warragamba Dam right here. It's holding a lot of this water back for us to drink and wash our bodies with it, you know, eventually. And it gets funneled into the Sydney area. Okay. Now, after we've seen that video, I want to quickly talk about some of the things on this website. Just a quick little conversation, right? So the New South Wales government wants to raise the wall of the Warragamba Dam to help alleviate this problem. But as others have argued, this controversial proposal might not work. That's because raising the wall will control only about half the flood water and won't prevent major floods delivered by other rivers feeding the region. Look, I don't know about you, but if you fix 50% of a problem, then there goes 50%. Half your problem is gone. If you can remove half the floodwaters going down all those snaking rivers out to sea eventually, if you can remove 50% of the water, I mean, you've almost fixed the problem in my opinion. If you can remove 50% of the water, then the rivers that go down towards all the people that are living near it, okay? Some people aren't living anywhere near it, but because it's such a flat plain, they experience the water flooding anyway, right? If you can remove 50% of that water going down those rivers, wow, huge, huge situation you have just fixed there, okay? So an obvious situation, my number one on my list is going to be to raise the Warragamba Dam higher so it can hold more water, so it can also feed our drinking mouths in summer, because in Sydney, Australia, and a lot of places in Australia, we go through droughts. Droughts are really terrible in this part of the world. Okay, as people overseas can imagine, we sometimes get a lot of rain like right now, but other times we don't get any rain at all. And the government literally says to us, they have radio commercials to us, they have TV commercials to us, they have information on websites that are put to our faces on ads on Facebook. Sometimes they literally say in these commercials, try and don't shower as much. It's pretty much illegal. Sometimes it's illegal to wash your car, to water your plants out the front. Sometimes it's illegal to actually, they make it illegal to actually water your garden at a specific time of day, between like 8 in the morning and 4 or 5 p.m. because that's the time when the sun's the highest and the evaporation happens the most. So they literally make it illegal. You get fines and in the mail if some council worker sees you doing this, right? So they literally say, stop having baths, stop having so many showers, don't water your car, that's completely wrong, you're not allowed to do that, don't wash your front lawn. Oh no! So if we can raise the level of the dam, that's one major problem fixed for two situations. More water for us to drink and less water flooding people down below because it's been held back by the dam. Now, we can go further, and we will. We will absolutely go further regarding this, right? The second factor making the current floods so bad is the exposure of infrastructure and housing. In the Hawkesbury-Nepean region, lots of stuff people care about, such as homes, businesses, schools, it's all in the path of the floodwaters. In an ideal world, nothing would be built on a floodplain, obviously, right? But due to Sydney's growing population and the housing affordability crisis, local governments in the Western Sydney area have been put under pressure to build more and more homes despite the known flood risk problem. More people are coming to the area, right? I have actually seen a few news reports now of people being so devastated by these floods, these like 3 or 4 floods over the space of just over a year, that people are starting to leave because they're just getting flooded in their house all the time, right? But more people are moving in, All right, they're building more houses, more concreted roads, more everything is getting built in these floodplains, right? So how do we fix this? Well, basically to future-proof the situation, I believe that we should be building houses on stilts. Abso-freaking-lutely we should. In a lot of places in Queensland, Australia, you will see a lot of houses that look like this in Queensland. Probably for a couple of reasons. In my opinion, I don't fully know, but for a couple of reasons. One, because of potential floods, and two, because the aeration under the house would make the house cooler. Is that why they do it? I don't really know, but regardless of why they do it, if we built more houses that looked like this, and they wouldn't have to be that high in some areas, right? They wouldn't have to be nearly that high at all, but as long as it's off the ground, and we would know whereabout floods would come up to because of past years' history, right? So if a flood water was to come up here like 20 years ago or 50 years ago, then you'd build the house up to the same level or just a little bit higher, right? That's not to say that, you know, next year's flood, if it does come, could be higher than 50 years ago. It could, but at least your house is up this high. Like, imagine if it wasn't, right? Your water level would be up to your roof, and that's exactly what's been happening in towns called Lismore. Lismore, New South Wales has experienced fucking terrible flooding, and people have literally died in their house, couldn't escape. Dreadful. Now, another idea from my situation, at least, something that I've thought about is this, right? In Japan, it's become a bit of a famous infrastructure project, right? The metropolitan area outer underground discharge channel. There's this huge, I mean, look at this. Look at these people. Huge underground infrastructure that was built in parts of Japan. Was it Tokyo? I'm not really sure now, but this whole area completely floods. Using their computer systems, they're able to direct the water into these areas to kind of hold it in the bathtub. This massive, absolutely massive bathtub. Obviously, there is no people down below in that area when it starts to flood, but I think they allow tourists when it's not flooding, right? But if we built something like this, we could store a lot more water, like Japan does. But there's even a better idea. I want to show you this right now. So New York City has this massive project called City Water Tunnel number 3. And it's a huge tunnel being built by, I think it's a TBM, a tunnel boring machine, I think it is. And this huge tunnel is bringing water from wherever it's coming from. Don't know where it is coming from, but it's bringing it to New York City, right? So New York City people can drink. The older tunnels that are there now are decaying and are much, much, much smaller and aren't really able to cope with the amount of people that are moving into the city, right? So that's why they're building this massive tunnel. Now, my idea is to literally build a tunnel from the dam, the Warragamba Dam, to the ocean. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, oh, that's absolutely ridiculous, Gareth. Why am I even watching this guy? I'm about to click off. Before you do, this is such an amazing idea, and I'm about to rock your world with this information. Hopefully, at least. Hopefully I do. All right. I've done some research, as you can hopefully tell. Okay. So once again, the Warragamba Dam, the dam is right there, as you guys can see. Okay. So if we literally built a tunnel from the dam entrance, or from here, for example, and went straight down all the way to the ocean, then we could literally remove the water from the dam and prevent it from going through the canals. Like, you know, there's the dam right there. The water that's currently getting spilt from the dam, okay, it basically goes through these areas. And it floods. You know, some of these areas get flooded quite a lot. Okay, where's Penrith? Emu Plains and Penrith. is Emu Plains right there, and Penrith is just over here. There is Penrith right there. Okay, a lot of these areas get flooded because the water is going down these areas. Now you may be thinking, well, how far is it? Well, using this website right here, distance calculator. You can use this distance calculator to determine the straight line distances from your base of operations to your furthest destination in Australia. Let's have a look. From Warragamba Dam to, in what my opinion may be the closest to the ocean, Cronulla, okay, 54.9 kilometers. Let's just round it off. 55 kilometers to the ocean. Wow. But you may be saying to yourself, well, hang on. Having a TBM, a tunnel boring machine, digging 55 kilometers underground is going to be terribly, terribly expensive. Yes and no. Yes and no. Take a look at this. This man is inside of a tunnel boring machine hole. This man is literally standing next to a tiny tunnel boring machine. Now, when we think of tunnel boring machines, we usually think of huge ones that build whole metro train lines and train stations. And yes, they can be absolutely huge for just that purpose, building train lines and directing traffic underground, right? You need a freaking huge tunnel for all those lanes of road. Yeah, okay. But if you have a smaller TBN, you're basically removing so much less dirt from the earth. I mean, look at the size of that man compared to that machine. If you had that diameter pipe from the dam to the ocean, you're not only able to drain the water when there's too much, preventing it from going down the snaking river eventually to the ocean, but this is the very interesting bit. This is the bit that I'm going to shock you. Are you ready for this? Yes, my birds are on me today. I finally let them on me. Okay, it's been a while, but they're back. This right here, the drought. As we said before, the droughts in Australia are terrible. When it's not raining and we no longer need this tunnel because it's definitely not flooding because it's now drought season, you then recycle this tunnel in the opposite direction. You now suck the water from the ocean and you go through a desalination plant system to then feed that water from the ocean to Warragamba Dam so that the whole of the Sydney metropolitan area is always able to drink, even potentially if it hasn't rained in 5 years, 10 years. Let's just say the worst example, it hasn't rained at all in 10 years. Obviously that's not going to happen, but let's say it hasn't. The Warragamba Dam could potentially be completely 100% full using this technique. Wow. Now, water desalination, drinking water. So humans cannot drink saline water, which is salt water. They can't, right? But saline water can be made into fresh water, for which there are many uses. The possibilities is called desalination. The process is called desalination, I should say. And it has been used more and more around the world to provide people with needed fresh water. So a desalination plant could be used somewhere, let's just say the halfway mark. Let's say, for example, let's just say, for example, the desalination plant is at Cronulla. It's obviously not going to be at Cronulla. But I mean, it could be either there, or it could be, if I can get it to work, and it's not working for some reason. The desalination plant could even be next to Warragamba Dam, or it could be anywhere in between, okay? So basically, if the dam needs water, you suck it from the ocean via the treatment plant. If it's too much water, you drain the water. And let's just face it, yes, there probably will be uphill slopes and downhill slopes, and obviously water doesn't go uphill, so you would need massive pumps for both directions. Pumps to help push the water out to ocean if it's flooding, and pumps to help bring the water from the ocean to the desalination plant back to the dam. So you'd need massive pumps, yes. The technology is there. 55 kilometers with a tiny TBM is not much at all. the amount of earth that you would need to move compared to a massive subway system, TBM, is very minimal compared to that, right? This is achievable. Now, is this going to happen in our lifetimes? Probably not. It might. If politicians are watching this, you can literally change the face of Sydney forever, because Sydney's only growing. There's more people coming to Sydney every single day. It's never going to stop. And now with this new Nancy Bird Walton, Sydney, Australia's newest airport, Nancy Bird Walton Airport, opening up in Badgerys Creek, there'll be more and more people coming in, potentially getting flooded. Definitely, 100% getting flooded. This is the way to fix this. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, drop us a like and subscribe, all right? We're on 2 different channels. This channel right now, but of course, channel 1 as well, all right? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, @Tallboy Gareth. Give us a like and subscribe. Come on. Everybody else is, but you're not. Be a part of the crowd that's subscribing to me. Hope you guys like the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ciao.